If you're over 55 and you're relying on a pill to protect your memory, please listen for a few minutes. This matters. I'm a neurologist who spent decades caring for older adults with memory concerns, and I want to be blunt but fair. Most over-the-counter brain supplements are not the magic fix they're marketed to be. That's not to shame anyone who's tried them. I understand the appeal. But there's a better, safer path that's backed by consistent evidence, real food, habitual movement, sleep, and social engagement. Today I'll explain why supplements often fall short as a first line of defense, what evidence-based dietary patterns actually help reduce the risk of cognitive decline, which foods to prioritize, how to pair diet with simple exercises that support both mobility and brain health, and a practical 30-day plan you can start this week. Before we get started, tell me in the comments, how old are you, and do you currently take any memory supplements? I'll read some of your answers and respond. Why so many supplements disappoint after about 55? The supplement industry is massive, and understandably, people want a simple solution, a bottle, a dose, a promise. But there are several predictable reasons why many supplements underdeliver for older adults. First, regulation and quality vary. Unlike prescription drugs, dietary supplements are not required to prove effectiveness before they're sold. That means some products contain lower doses than listed, others include fillers, and a few contain contaminants. When a pill's contents aren't consistent, you can't expect consistent effects. Second, bioavailability. How well your body absorbs and uses a nutrient changes with age. As we get older, stomach acid, digestive enzymes, and absorption in the gut can decline. That makes it harder for some oral supplements to reach the tissues that need them. A tablet that works well in a younger adult may be less effective in someone with age-related changes in digestion. Third, timing matters. Much of what protects brain health accumulates over years. Starting an isolated nutrient late in life and expecting it to undo decades of diet and activity and vascular risk is unrealistic. Prevention is a long game. Cumulative exposures to healthy foods, consistent exercise, good sleep, and vascular risk control have the strongest relationships with sustained brain health in large observational studies. Finally, biology favors complexity. The brain thrives on many interacting nutrients, anti-inflammatory signals, antioxidants, and steady blood flow. Whole foods provide a mix of vitamins, minerals, fiber, phytonutrients, and fats that act together. Taking a single pill rarely reproduces that synergy. That said, there are times when supplements are appropriate. Documented deficiencies, for example vitamin B12 or vitamin D, certain malabsorption conditions, or medications that interfere with nutrient levels.
The key is testing and tailoring, not assuming a generic over-the-counter product replaces a healthy diet. What the best evidence shows. When researchers look at what patterns of eating are associated with lower risk of cognitive decline, two consistent winners emerge: the Mediterranean diet and the MIND diet. The Mediterranean pattern emphasizes vegetables, fruits, whole grains, beans, nuts, fish, olive oil, and modest intake of poultry and wine, while minimizing red and processed meats, refined grains, and sweets. The MIND diet is a hybrid that combines Mediterranean and DASH principles and gives extra emphasis to leafy greens and berries because of their link with cognitive outcomes. Across many studies, people who adhere to these patterns have a lower risk of developing dementia and slower cognitive decline compared with those who don't. And importantly, these patterns are about habitual choices over years, not single nutrients taken in isolation. Trials testing isolated supplements, single antioxidants, single vitamins, some botanicals, show mixed results at best. Some trials found no cognitive benefit. Others found small benefits only in specific subgroups. That doesn't mean supplements are always useless, but it does mean food first is the better default strategy for most people. Key brain-supporting foods and what they do. Let's translate those patterns into practical specific foods. For each category, I'll say briefly why it matters and how to use it. Leafy greens. Why? Rich in folate, vitamin K, carotenoids, and other micronutrients that support vascular health and cellular function. How? Aim for at least one serving daily. This could be a cup or two of raw spinach in a salad, a cooked cup of collard greens, or a green smoothie in the morning. If swallowing or chewing is an issue, blend greens into soups or smoothies. Berries, particularly blueberries, strawberries. Why? High in flavonoids and anthocyanins, which reduce inflammation and protect brain cells in lab and animal models. Observational studies link regular berry intake with slower cognitive decline. How? Add a half to 1 cup of berries to breakfast, sprinkled on oatmeal, stirred into yogurt, or frozen berries blended into a smoothie. Oily fish, salmon, sardines, mackerel, trout. Why? Source of long-chain omega-3 fatty acids, DHA and EPA, which are structural components of neuronal membranes and support vascular health. How? Aim for 2 servings per week. If fresh fish is hard to access, choose canned salmon or sardines. They're budget-friendly and soft for those with dental issues. Nuts and seeds, walnuts, almonds, flaxseed. Why? Contain healthy fats, vitamin E, and other antioxidants linked to cognitive benefits in observational studies. How? A small handful daily, about 1 ounce, is a practical target. Meal idea: a sprinkle of walnuts on oatmeal or a tablespoon of ground flaxseed mixed into yogurt.
Olive oil, extra virgin. Why? Monounsaturated fats and polyphenols in extra virgin olive oil are anti-inflammatory and protective in multiple studies of Mediterranean-style diets. How? Use as your main cooking and salad oil. Replace butter or margarine with a drizzle of olive oil when possible. Whole grains, oats, brown rice, barley, whole grain bread. Why? Provide B vitamins, fiber, and steady glucose for the brain. They help avoid blood sugar spikes that can be harmful over time. How? Aim for several servings daily. A bowl of oatmeal, whole grain toast, or brown rice at lunch. Legumes and beans. Why? Rich in fiber, plant protein, and micronutrients, associated with reduced cardiovascular risk and favorable metabolic profiles. How? Include beans several times per week. Add lentils to soups, chickpeas to salads, or make a bean-based spread like hummus. Vegetables in general, especially colorful ones. Why? Assorted vitamins, minerals, and phytochemicals reduce oxidative stress and inflammation. How? Fill half your plate with non-starchy vegetables at lunch and dinner when possible. Poultry and low-fat dairy in moderation. Why? Good sources of lean protein and B vitamins. How? Substitute poultry for frequent red meat. Choose low-fat dairy or yogurt as a snack, especially if fortified with vitamin D for those deficient. Limit these. Why? High saturated fats, processed sugars, and trans fats are associated with worse brain outcomes. How? Reduce butter, fried foods, processed meats, and sugary snacks. Small, sustainable reductions are better than extreme restrictions you can't maintain. Meal and snack examples you can use today. One-day sample menu that fits the Mind/Mediterranean approach and is realistic for many older adults. Breakfast: oatmeal cooked in water or milk, topped with a handful of blueberries, a tablespoon of chopped walnuts, and a drizzle of honey or cinnamon for flavor. If chewing is difficult, blend cooked oats with berries and yogurt into a creamy porridge. Mid-morning snack: Greek yogurt or fortified dairy-free alternative with a spoonful of ground flaxseed or a small banana and a handful of almonds. Lunch: mixed green salad with canned tuna or salmon, chopped vegetables, chickpeas, and a dressing made from extra virgin olive oil and lemon. Serve with a slice of whole grain bread. Afternoon snack: carrot sticks with hummus or a small apple and a cheese stick if tolerated. Dinner: baked salmon or roasted chicken, a big portion of steamed or roasted vegetables, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, or leafy greens, and a side of quinoa or brown rice. Before bed, a cup of chamomile tea and a small serving of berries, or a square of dark chocolate, occasional treat. If budget or dentition is a concern, frozen berries, canned beans, and canned fish are inexpensive and nutrient-dense. Soups and stews can soften whole grains and vegetables for easier chewing, while preserving nutrient content. Practical eat this instead swaps. Rather than framing change as deprivation, think in swaps. Instead of a sugary cereal, try oatmeal with berries and nuts. Instead of potato chips, try roasted chickpeas or a small handful of walnuts. Instead of a processed lunch meat sandwich, make a tuna salad with olive oil and whole grain bread. Instead of sugary desserts every night, try a baked fruit with cinnamon or a small portion of dark chocolate a few times a week. Why these swaps matter. They replace empty calories with nutrient-rich foods that support vascular health, reduce inflammation, and supply the raw materials the brain needs for repair and resilience. Where supplements still fit in, with caution and testing. There are circumstances when supplements are reasonable and even necessary. The main examples are documented deficiencies and specific medical conditions. Vitamin B12.
Older adults, especially those with reduced stomach acid, gastritis, or those taking certain acid-suppressing medications, can develop B12 deficiency. This can cause memory and balance problems. If testing shows a low B12, supplementation under clinical guidance is appropriate. Vitamin D. Many older adults are low in vitamin D, which affects bone health and perhaps physical function. Supplementation after testing can make sense, particularly in those with little sun exposure. Iron, folate, or other micronutrients. If labs show deficiency, correct under supervision. Clinically significant omega-3 deficiency or inability to eat fish, a clinician may recommend fish oil supplements after discussing risks and benefits. But for routine, unsupervised over-the-counter brain blends sold directly to consumers, the evidence for preventing dementia is weak, and supplements can interact with medications. For example, high-dose vitamin E or certain herbal products can increase bleeding risk in people on blood thinners, so never start a new supplement without checking with a clinician or pharmacist. Movement and mobility. 5 simple exercises that support brain and independence. Diet and exercise are partners. Movement improves cardiovascular function, inflammation, insulin sensitivity, and even stimulates brain-derived neurotrophic factor, a protein that helps neurons survive and form new connections. Below are 5 brief practical exercises adapted for older adults that reinforce balance, strength, and functional mobility. I'm summarizing them so you can do them safely at home, near a sturdy chair or counter for support. Single leg stance. Why? Trains balance and proprioception, reduces fall risk, and indirectly supports brain health by keeping you active and independent. How? Stand near a chair, hold the back lightly, lift one foot so you're balancing on the other. Aim for 20 to 30 seconds per leg once or twice daily. If 30 seconds is too hard, start with 5 to 10 seconds and build up. If balance is poor, hold the chair more firmly or stand near a wall.
Heel-to-toe walking. Why? Trains coordination and balance in a dynamic way similar to everyday walking on uneven surfaces. How? Walk in a straight line, placing the heel of one foot directly in front of the toes of the other. Take 10-20 steps, turn around, and repeat. Do this once or twice daily. Use support if needed and avoid slippery floors. Sit to stand, chair squats. Why? Strengthens the legs and hips, which are essential for getting up from chairs, climbing stairs, and preventing falls. How? From a seated position, push up to stand using your legs, not your hands, and sit back down slowly. Cross arms over your chest if possible. Aim for 10 to 15 repetitions in a set. Do 1 to 3 sets per day, adjusting to your level. Hip circles or gentle hip mobility. Why? Maintains hip range of motion, helps with gait and transfers, and reduces stiffness that limits activity. How? Standing or seated, move one leg in a gentle circular motion, or in a seated position, do slow hip circles with each leg. Do 10 small circles each direction per hip, once daily. Wall push or isometric push. Why? Builds upper body strength useful for transfers and balance recovery. How? Stand facing a wall, hands flat at shoulder height, and push into the wall while maintaining a tight core for 5 to 10 seconds. Relax and repeat 8 to 12 times. This is safe for people who can't do floor push-ups. Safety modifications and frequency. Always start with support nearby. If you use an assistive device, perform these exercises with it. If you have joint pain, replace repetitions with isometric holds or reduced range under guidance. Aim to do balance and mobility practice most days. Even short, frequent sessions are powerful. The orthopedic colleagues I work with often tell patients that short daily practice beats infrequent, intense sessions for long-term independence. Short explanations for the bridge between exercise and brain health. Exercise supports brain health in several ways. It improves blood flow to the brain, reduces vascular risk factors like high blood pressure and insulin resistance, decreases chronic inflammation, and stimulates molecules like BDNF that support neuroplasticity. Sustained movement helps maintain independence, reduces the risk of falls, and keeps people socially and cognitively engaged, all factors associated with better cognitive trajectories. Sleep, social connection, and cognitive stimulation, don't neglect them. Diet and movement are central, but sleep and social life matter too. Poor sleep, especially chronic fragmented sleep and untreated sleep apnea, is associated with worse cognitive outcomes. Aim for regular sleep schedules, good sleep hygiene, and evaluate snoring or daytime sleepiness with your clinician.
Social engagement and cognitive activity, hobbies, volunteer work, or regular social interactions are associated with better late-life cognition.
Simple actions like joining a local class, calling a friend daily, or playing low-stakes games reinforce social bonds and cognitive challenge. Putting it together, a realistic 30-day starter plan. Change is easier with small, concrete steps. Here's a week-by-week plan to build momentum and sustainable habits. Week 1. Foundation and easy swaps. Grocery. Stock frozen berries, canned salmon or sardines, canned beans, olive oil, oats, and some fresh or frozen greens. Food target. Make at least one meal per day follow the MIND template: leafy greens, plus whole grain, plus a protein, plus olive oil or nuts. Movement target. Practice single leg stance and sit to stand once per day. Start with short sets, 10 to 30 seconds single leg, 5 to 10 sit to stand. Sleep social. Set a consistent bedtime and reach out to one friend or neighbor this week. Week 2. Build variety and frequency. Food. Add berries to breakfast daily. Eat fish twice this week. Canned is fine. Include beans in 2 meals. Movement. Add heel to toe walking once daily and increase sit to stand to 2 sets. Check. If you're on meds or have chronic conditions, make a short list of any supplements you're taking and bring it to your clinician. Week 3. Habit stacking and convenience. Food. Replace one snack of chips or cookies with nuts or a piece of fruit and yogurt. Try a salad with leafy greens 3 times this week. Movement. Add wall push exercise and gentle hip mobility. Do short sessions twice daily, integrated into routines. Single leg stance while brushing teeth. Social cognitive. Join a local class, church group, or online forum that interests you, or add 10 minutes of a crossword or language app 3 times this week. Week 4. Consolidate and test. Food. Aim to have at least 3 MIND-type meals most days, and make olive oil your main fat source. Movement. Maintain daily balance work and increase total daily practice time modestly. Medical check. Consider scheduling a primary care or neurology visit if you want labs for B12, vitamin D, thyroid function, or omega-3 status. Discuss any supplements you're considering. Practical tips to make changes stick. Pair new actions with existing routines, habit stacking. Example, single leg stance during your morning toothbrushing. Pour a handful of nuts when you make coffee. Make food prep simple. Batch cook beans and grains, use frozen vegetables and berries, keep canned fish on the shelf. Start small and celebrate consistency more than perfection. 10 minutes of focused change every day trumps a weekend of willpower. If finances are tight, frozen produce, canned fish, and beans are nutrient-dense and affordable. For dentition issues, soft options like mashed beans, pureed soups with olive oil, canned fish, and smoothies preserve nutrient intake. Safety, medications, and when to see clinicians. A few essential cautions. If you're on blood thinners, discuss increasing leafy greens and vitamin K changes with your clinician before making large dietary changes. Don't suddenly stop or start supplements without consultation. If you have kidney disease or other metabolic conditions, some foods and supplements require adjustment. Coordinate with your medical team. If you experience new or worsening memory loss, falls, dizziness, or mood changes, seek medical assessment. Some causes of cognitive or mobility problems are treatable if identified early. If you're considering supplements because of poor appetite, weight loss, or swallowing difficulties, work with a clinician and possibly a dietitian. Sometimes targeted supplementation is the right answer to correct a clear deficiency or malnutrition. Caregivers and family. How to support change without pressure. If you're helping a parent or spouse, focus on gentle scaffolding rather than orders. Cook one MIND-style meal together each week, make shopping easier with a short grocery list, and invite them to short walks or balance practice. Small, consistent supports, sharing a meal, a short walk, or doing a puzzle together, are often more effective than intense lectures. Common questions I hear in clinic. Question: should I stop my supplements? Answer: don't stop anything prescribed by a clinician without discussing it. For over-the-counter brain supplements, consider whether you've had appropriate labs and whether they're causing harm or interacting with medications. Many people do fine with a targeted approach for documented deficiencies. Question: is fish oil worth taking? Answer:
Evidence is mixed for preventing dementia in generally healthy older adults. If you don't eat fish regularly, or if testing shows low omega-3 levels, your clinician might suggest supplementation. It should not replace efforts to eat fish regularly if possible. Question: how fast will I see cognitive benefits? Answer: diet and lifestyle changes are cumulative. You may notice better mood, sleep, and energy within weeks, and improvements in blood pressure, lipids, and glycemic control within months, but changes in cognitive testing typically accrue over years. The important point is starting now and sticking with changes. A final practical summary. Most over-the-counter brain supplements are not proven to reliably prevent cognitive decline when used alone, especially if started late. Whole food dietary patterns like the MIND or Mediterranean diets have stronger and more consistent associations with better cognitive outcomes. Prioritize leafy greens, berries, oily fish, nuts, beans, whole grains, olive oil, and colorful vegetables. Use simple swaps and meal templates to make change feasible.
Pair dietary changes with brief daily exercises that improve balance and strength. Single leg stance, heel to toe walking, sit to stand, hip mobility, and wall pushes are practical and effective when done regularly with safety modifications. Sleep, social connection, and cognitive engagement complete the package. They are not optional extras, but complementary pillars of brain health. Supplements have a role when there's documented deficiency or specific clinical need. Testing and clinician guidance are essential. Never start supplements without a discussion about interactions with current medications. You don't need to overhaul everything at once. Start with one food swap this week and one short exercise daily. Build from there. If you want a printable 30-day plan, a grocery list tailored to a MIND-style approach, and links to the major studies and guidelines that inform this talk, check the description below. I've included a downloadable packet and references so you can review the evidence on your own time. If this message resonates, tell me in the comments. How old are you, and which simple change will you try this week? A berry at breakfast, a can of salmon, or a minute of balance practice? I read your comments and will respond. If you found this helpful, subscribe and click the bell for more practical, evidence-based guidance on healthy aging. The full list of references, printable meal and exercise guides, and a clinician discussion checklist are all in the description below. Start small, be consistent, and give your brain the whole food, movement-rich environment it needs to thrive.